So I'd like to talk about crowdfunding, some of these new forces with the crowd and crowdfunding. And the thing that's fascinating about it to me is that it's an honor system. And you look at, when you come from the developer publishing side, it's sort of a dishonor system. You have to plan ahead of time, every milestone out for a year and a half or 2 years. You do your best guess, but give me a break, right? Like, every nuance of it. And there's a tinkering process that goes with development. You like something that you thought was going to be great, doesn't feel that great, and vice versa, and you're moving and shifting around. But under contract, you're not allowed to do that, and you're off by a little bit, and you don't get paid. And they play this game where they pretend like they're not making your payroll, but in reality, they are. So whereas Kickstarter, they get all the money up front and say, "We trust you, go make the game." I mean, that's just a fascinating thing to me. And of course, people outside my industry, they're even more blown away. And working with the crowd is also helping us shape the game. That communication with the fans it allows us to be in sync the entire way. Because back in the old days, I would use my instinct and my best guess, but ultimately, all I had was my QA department to give me feedback, but they always weren't representative of the world at large. So using this, the change here is that no longer are like my people's ability, we're not rated on our ability to make tools and create assets and programming routines. We are now, my guys are rated on the ability to use the tools and harness the work that's being made by others out there. It's a major shift. And these assets, they come from all around the world. The Unity store is a great example of that. And guess what? Some really talented stuff. I'm going to show you, this is one piece that I have an artist in China doing for me. And this is really great work, so there's no, like, you're working with the crowd, the crowd sounds so nebulous. The bottom line is there's super talented people doing art and programming, really great stuff. I used to have a programmer work for me a couple of years ago. He had left, and we had just hired him back, and I says, oh my God, this is fantastic. What a change. I don't have to recreate all these assets. I can have a smaller team, more flexible. There's all this stuff out there. I'm sort of jumping up and down, evangelize. And he's like, duh, been doing it for years. So, I mean, for a lot of you've known this for a while, but it's really, to me, I've just sort of maybe slow to the party on this one, but we're really utilizing it in a big way. People a lot, why did we choose Unity? Unity's got a lot of great technical aspects. We talk about shaders and all this kind of stuff. But ultimately, for me, it came down to the store and the communication and the sharing of knowledge. That's the real power of Unity. That's not the technical aspects. And that's where you can't beat the crowd. And I know that, I guess David mentioned this yesterday in the keynote, but we've already used 49 different assets in our product in the first few months, and we expect it to reach as high as 500. And I'll show you a little video of the game today. It doesn't look like anything else, I sort of compare it, I think about the way that, a lot of movies do. Like, they have a backlot. They don't recreate sets every time. They have a costume department. They have a prop department. Yet every show doesn't look exactly the same. This is the same kind of thing. There's no reason not to take advantage of it. So we've been working on this about 100 days. We've had no distraction from any kind of overlord. And we have hundreds of pages of design done. We have our first music in. We have our basic UI up and running. And we have our first take at our screenshots. So bottom line is, without any interruption, we're kicking ass. And so I'm going to show you a little brief take of our product running inside the Unity engine so you can see what we're doing, just to give you a little sneak here. Adequate. You can go out further for more tactical. And if you're really old school, you can go complete top down. So there's our first little sneak. So like I said, and our development has been completely transparent. You know, we vet each idea as we go through, so there are no surprises. So whether it's this sort of thing, the soundtrack, all the broad stroke stuff, and the feedback to doing it has been really positive. And by the way, on the issue of crowdsourcing, we want to do some wonderful wind effects and things. So if there's anybody out there programming that knows how to do that, we want to talk to you. And the last part about as it relates to Kickstarter is that it's a wonderful way to, it's the cheapest kind of financing you can get. You're not going to get a better way of financing, and you also get the PR from it, and you get the fans. And so I loved it so much that I kicked off an initiative called Kicking It Forward, which is I went out and said, okay, this is so great, and I want this to work for other people, is that I'm going to take 5% of my profits and put it back into other Kickstarter projects. So not 5% of the money we get from people, because people, they don't want to see that, but after we've made money, and if you've got your development costs covered right up front to launch, you're going to start making money day one, is to plug that in and to help other people in that ecosystem. So anyway, so I set this up, and it's kind of an honor system within an honor system for other people to say, hey, who else is going to do this? And so far we have 100 projects that have signed up to share 5% of their profits with other people. You know, if one Minecraft comes along and somebody's pumping in $1 million, $2 million, $3 million back into the ecosystem for other people, that's going to help find the next guy. And so, you know, that's sort of one of the things I'm very sort of passionate about. Yeah.